Welcome to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. I'm your host, Fabian motherfucking Ojeda, and I don't know shit, but that's okay. All right, let's get this shit started. Thank you everybody for listening to the Ignorance is Strength podcast. Hope you all enjoyed episode number 45 with Colin Schofield, up-and-coming comedian, podcaster, and our second guest from the UK. It's always interesting to get that international perspective and flavor. Even simple, subtle things like, what the hell do they serve at the McDonald's over there is an interesting conversation. But we're back with a brand new guest today, and he's part of a reggaeton duo. Let's welcome one half of La Sancha. How you doing today?
Hi, good. I go by Luis FM.
Luis FM, there we go. I was going to ask, what comprises, what makes up La Sancha?
Mainly, to me, La Sancha is just the group of people that's been helping me, everybody that's behind it. I have a DJ that guides me. There's been people that are helping me in different studios. But La Sancha basically is a COVID project.
Okay.
Myself and El WM, which is the guy that sings with me, we both had different groups of like musical. I was doing covers, Spanish rock, cumbia, pretty much anything you throw in. We used to sing, play Santana music. We played
nice
Sublime. Like we're that kind of band that you go see us because you don't know what we were gonna go out and play. English, Spanish. We sometimes we play some Rage Against the Machine. We were just weird and fun, and people love that.
Yeah.
And we're doing well. We're playing a lot. The LA scene, pretty much every weekend we had work, and COVID hit, and it just shut us down completely. And I can't live without having some kind of music project going on.
For sure. Yeah. Now you were in cover bands. Were you the lead singer? Did you play any other instruments?
I was the lead singer. I'm the lead singer for Bajocero, which is a local band in Los Angeles.
Nice.
And so, like, I play a few instruments. I'm not the greatest, but I know enough to get by and do my own compositions. And so that's how I decided I'm just gonna have to do something on my own. And I started making phone calls and getting people to help me out. That's how La Sancha was born. That's how I got El WM, because he's one of my friends from Puerto Rico.
Nice.
And he just loved to jump in and see what we could do.
Sounds like a real collaborative effort, and that's always cool, because I'm not a great musician or anything like that. I've dabbled in it, put together a few little songs and whatnot. But it's always good, to jump into some sort of musical venture and you and the people around you just click, and when what one person's thinking before they even play it, at the same time, I do enjoy my autonomy and freedom of trying to do my own thing, because sometimes you're like, wait, I'm going to put this song together. It's only going to sound good if you do it yourself, And so I struggle with that sometimes as a musician. That's why I don't play it nice with others a lot of the time, How do you kind of, deal with that? Do you feel the same, where you like clicking with others, or do you find yourself more like, the director at times?
Well, this is pretty much my project, because I write the songs and I had a guy that was helping me produce the music, and he was too busy, so now I'm taking care of that. And so pretty much when I have a song, I come up to the guys and be like, look, this is what I got. So it is my songs. I write the lyrics. The guys help me with ideas as far as what we should do to make it a little bit better, some backups. But for mostly everything, I write the song, the melodies, and then I come in and hear, this is it, and then let's work on this. So cool. Yeah, it hasn't been too difficult as far as that end, because the people that have been around me, they just help me make it better.
So it's like you introduce it and then they give their spin, they give their flavor on it.
Correct. That's what the Double M has done, because obviously he's from Puerto Rico. So I
Hmm.
was born here in LA but raised in Mexico. So that I have that more of that cumbia flavor, more of that Spanish rock, and then he's helped me to do that blend to not, it doesn't sound too reggaeton if you know reggaeton, but it doesn't sound like, I mean, obviously I like the fact that it sounds like nobody else's music, and it sounds original.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's a fusion of Spanish rock. It's a fusion of cumbia. It's a fusion of reggaeton. Yeah.
Okay. So like a nice mix there. And that's what I was going to ask. Like what do you consider your sound? Because, to somebody with the kind of like the ignorant ear, right, where they if they, let's say it's somebody who only listens to like English music and they hear what you've got going on, they might just dismiss it and be like, oh, it's just that Spanish stuff, right? But what do you consider your music? Is it mostly like reggaeton, or I know
It's
you mentioned
urban.
it's like a good fusion.
It's urban music,
Okay.
because see, the a lot of, like, for instance, Spanish rock, it is, it's música urbana. It's a lot of the
Mm.
stuff that came from the cities, from people jamming, and so reggaeton is like that. Reggaeton is urban music. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it from the streets, but it's kind of like that, like us, like, the hood, the barrio. It's still
Hmm.
like that. It's just different flavors. It's taking different turns. Like, um, it's something that if somebody in East LA would have, that, when we listened to the oldies, and
Hmm.
then we decided to, well, we're gonna make some oldies sound like cumbias. I think that people in reggaeton, what they did was they had in Puerto Rico, you listen to a lot of salsa, to trova, merengue. There's so
Hmm.
many dancing beats out there that they turned in some of what you would say like the hip hop. You turn it into something more danceable, and
Hmm.
that's, I mean, it's urban music, música urbana.
Right. Yeah, and it kind of, this kind of, you're talking about music that came from the streets and everything like that. It kind of reminds me. Have you seen the Netflix documentary about like all the different rock and Espanol bands? I forget what it's called. It's called something like in English. I think it
I
was like
I
Break It
just
Down or
started
something like
watching that. It's, yeah. They talk about how it all started with cover bands.
that. Hmm.
They were covering all the English stuff, and then the Spanish rock started being born. And funny you say it, because I do identify myself with that TV show a lot, because I started doing nothing but covers. A lot of us musicians start doing covers, and then
Hmm.
eventually you start evolving into writing and try to do your own thing. And I
Yeah.
think that's where I'm at right now, where
Hmm.
I'm still finding myself. I think that never ends, but I really like my foundation, that I can talk about singing Sonora Dinamita, but I love Maná,
Nice.
Caifanes, you know,
Yeah.
Héroes del Silencio. It's like, but then I love the Doors. I like
Hmm.
Nirvana, the, the the Beatles. It's just so many things that you listen to, and you just kind of try to find your own way.
Yeah. I like hearing that too because you can't, when it comes to music, I don't think you can just have like one style. I remember just when even just growing up in high school, you would have the kids that like, oh well, I'm a punker, I only listen to punk, or
Yeah,
I'm a ska kid, I only listen to ska music. But it's like you got to mix it up. That's what that music came from. It came from mixed up versions of other genres. So if they did it, you can't just pigeonhole yourself to one style. And I think honestly that makes for either some of the best music or some of the worst music, but at least they tried something.
correct.
Yeah.
My latest song, I just released a song this weekend, and this is what I just started promoting. It's called Dejo de Pensar, and it's a slow ballad,
Mm.
but the beat is a trap beat. So
Mm.
you have that, so it's like a trap beat, but then you hear it, actual Steven GB. He did
Uh-huh.
get the guitar work for me. So we did Imagine Mana and Bad Bunny got together, and
Uh-huh.
that was like the idea. It's got some violins, some cellos, but it's got that
Uh-huh.
trap beat behind it, so that it has that urban flavor. So it's got that sound that's out there, but it's gonna give people a little more musicality than probably they're used to in a trap song.
Nice.
Just
Yeah. I mean, what it does there is it captures, both sides, right? So like, admittedly, I'm not as into like the urban music, right? So if I just heard, like that the trap beat, I'd be like, maybe not that interested. But if I hear Steve, who I know he's a great musician, and he's
correct.
jamming on a guitar right there, I'll be more inclined to want to give it a shot and listen to it. And I think that's what the brilliance of fusing music together does to people. It gives like someone like me who's kind of snobby about it, right? It gives me an opportunity to check it out at least and decide like, hey, do I like this or not? And
Yeah.
that's always a good thing, I think. I wanted to kind of delve a little deeper, since this is your musical baby, right? This project is
Correct.
your musical baby.
That is right.
And I know you mentioned, cover bands and stuff like that, but are there any other projects you had before where, you were taking it seriously, you were recording music, and that, you're kind of up and coming with it?
I mean, I've been in bands my whole life. I was raised in Mexico. We had a
Mhm.
band out there. We did more of cumbias. We did. I was trying to do the like movimiento grupero, like temerarios and stuff like that. And that we were doing well. We were writing, but to be honest, it's sad because there's really no budget out there for it. It takes a very long time. You gotta
Mhm.
be very committed to be able to spend 10, 20 years saving and
Yeah.
recording. And unlike now over here that I can, I was able to put my little studio together, and I'm able to buy all my software and start producing.
Mhm.
So that was the very first project that I had when I was like 15 years old. And to be honest, I think all my music projects have done all right, but it's different things. When I was in high school, I had another band right out
Mhm.
of high school, and this was more of a new metal type of punk,
Wow.
and we were doing really good. We were playing. I played all the Hollywood scene,
Yeah.
the
Whiskey
Roxy
Roxy, all that. Yeah.
Whiskey, Viper Rune. It 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 was that was a lot of fun, and we were doing well. Where we're getting more and more shows, but then the band broke up, and just then I actually got picked up by a project that Mr. Edward James almost did. He
Wow.
guess he was starting or trying to start a record label for Latino artists. So he picked me up, and then I started putting a Spanish rock project for him at the time.
Mhm.
I mean, I was fortunate enough that in some of the events I got to meet Chespirito. I don't know if
Oh,
you know El Chavo.
yeah.
So in
That's
one of
cool.
his events that we played at, I got to play for. I met him, and he came out of the crowd to congratulate us and tell us how much he liked our music. So that also that didn't work out, and I don't know what happened, but I think he just stopped doing the record label, and that's when things
Mm.
didn't go anywhere. Then I started doing country.
Whoa.
I
that's
I
that's
sing in the
different.
right
Yeah.
country, correct. I was I always think of myself a little bit like John Sebastian, because John
Uh-huh.
Sebastian grew up in a town. I grew up in a town borderline US, where you get American music, you get the American radio stations, and you get a lot of country.
Mm.
And one of my uncles loves CCR.
Ah,
Uh,
nice.
so CCR was one of my introductions, but he likes Delta blues, so he liked a little bit of bluegrass. Just
Hmm.
I mean, I always been the I mean, same as I love Vicente Fernandez, I love George Strait.
Wow.
Uh, it's
That's
I just like music, man.
uh-huh.
Or I
Yeah,
could
that's
be
cool,
playing
man.
Sinatra one day, and then Sublime the next day. It
Hmm.
just I like music.
Your Spotify playlist is probably all over the place, huh?
Oh, I have different playlists. So when I
Yeah,
want to
no, for
listen,
sure.
I have my Sinatra, I have my banda, my norteño, but then I have my classic rock. I have
Hmm.
my reggaeton playlist. I just it's just I just like to listen to different things. I'm not I, I I've grown to realize not to limit myself and just listen to everything, man.
Hmm.
I like K-pop. I like EDM.
Oh,
I
so
listen
really,
to J rock, like the Japanese rock.
mhm.
Um, the,
Yeah, so really all over the place.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I enjoy music. If it's good, I'll listen to it.
Cool. Now, I wanted to kind of, it's funny because, we won't, we'll release this episode in a couple weeks, but, at the time of recording right now, it's Valentine's Day. And, someone asked me, well, who are you interviewing today? I'm like, oh, I'm talking to La Sancha on Valentine's Day. And, I got to ask, where'd the name come from?
Got it. That's I always get that. So basically, I've been singing with Bajo Cero. This is gonna be the 10th year,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all very committed to that band. And I've always said that Bajo Cero was my wife, or Bajo Cero is the wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started getting very serious with this new music project, this is La Sancha.
Ah, that
So
makes
this is
sense.
the side girl to the
Yeah.
wife. You get
Uh-huh.
me? So it has nothing to do with anything else. It's like my band was was the wife, was the one that had all the commitment. But when adversity struck, I needed to find out, because I love music. I needed to find
Mm-hmm.
out how I was gonna keep doing music, and La
Mm-hmm.
Sancha was born.
There you go. Now you mentioned adversity, and I was actually, gonna touch on that. Obviously, COVID slowed everything down. And performances, forget about it. Gigs, forget about it. But before COVID, right? How serious were you about making it a career? Because there are people who are great musicians, and you listen to them, you watch them play, and you're like, why aren't they famous musicians, right? But they just they succumb to the everyday life issues of I have to work, I have to maintain my payments, I have to support a family, whatever. um have you always seen yourself as like, I'm going to be a career musician, or at any point did you just think like, oh, maybe this isn't for me?
I've always wanted to, but it's always been difficult. Right now with again with COVID, I think it opened the doors. I work at a bank during the day. I'm a loan officer, and so
Mm-hmm.
for me, I did not stop working. I was very fortunate. I know that a lot of people right now are out of jobs, and it's a very sad situation. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, we banks can't close. You can't not have access to your money. So I was lucky to keep on working reduced hours, and so with that extra time, I just started writing and producing, and I realized that I put out the first song, and I'm like, I really like what I'm doing, and that's when I realized that I was gonna stick to it. So
Mm-hmm.
right now my days are ridiculously long. I get up in the morning to go to the bank. I come home, rest for a little bit, and then fire up the computer, and then I start writing. I start producing. So I'm usually going to bed around 11 or 12, and that's Monday through Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can keep on moving this project, and hopefully one day this will be able to just pay for the bills. But if it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, I mean, I understand that this has to take a while, so I'm not expecting this to happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm fortunate that I can work and pay my bills, and then at night I can be a musician, and I can songwrite and sing.
Right. Yeah. Do you produce for anybody else, or is it mostly just for your own music?
I just started, so right now the El Doble M, his wife, is also a singer. Her
Mm-hmm.
name is Legna Liz. Well, that's gonna be that's her name, and that's gonna be her artistic name.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a song, I made the music, and as soon as they get back from their project, from their business they're taking care of for family, we're gonna go in the studio and start recording her vocals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have her coming up in maybe like in a month, once we record, mix, master, all that good stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is gonna be the first artist under my name that I wrote and I'm producing.
Nice. All right. So now to kind of move things along, I noticed you have a couple of like music videos up on YouTube, right? Um
Correct.
I mean, to me they look very, professionally done. You can tell you put a lot of passion into it, a lot of work into it. How did those come about? And like, did you kind of do it as like a home project, or did you have like, professional like videographers and everything? And how did that work out for you?
I those were professionally made. I got this guy's friends from high school that they started their own studio.
Hmm.
It's Sancha's, not Sancha. It's Sunset Strip Studios.
Hmm.
And these guys are pretty awesome. They're mariachi guys.
Hmm.
And when I went to high school, I went to Roosevelt in Boyle Heights,
Okay.
and so these guys were in the mariachi, and so we've been friends for a very long time. And they started their own studio. So it's two guys, George and Lalo, and they're well known in the scene. So one of them got the recording studio degree, so the sound engineer, and the other one has got the filming and editing and all that. And so they did my first two singles and the videos. And then these next two singles that I did on the side with another friend, but that's just because I'm trying to get in a little more to learn more of the producing side.
Hmm.
But my main studio is Sunset Strip Studios, and right now I'm working on music to get back with them, so that I can make some more videos. And the directing I do, so I kind of come in already with the idea
Yes.
what I want the story and the video to look like. And but those guys are very good about giving you a few more tips. This is what we should do. But as far as the editing and lighting and everything, how it works, they do everything. I just tell them, look, this is the song. This is what I want to do.
Hmm.
And then I pick the locations and talk to people, so they let me. Like I want to thank Los Molcajetes and on Temple and
Hmm.
by downtown LA, the pupusa
Oh, I've
place,
been there. Yeah.
the one on Temple.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the very first video. Esta
Oh,
vez, they loaned me that
oh,
the
okay.
restaurant, and we took everything out, and then we loaded lights, and we made it look like a nightclub. And
Nice.
so we did the first video there because of COVID. They
Uh-huh.
just let us in, and then we took like so we basically did it with very minimum people. Same as
Hmm.
Me Voy a Parchar. They, somebody else loaned me at LA Smog loaned me their shop to go do that. And this is by if you go to the DMB right around the corner, there's that shop, and then they loaned me their place
Oh,
to do the Me Voy a Parchar video.
cool,
And
man.
so that's it. I mean, I put in a lot of thought every time I write a song. Like right now, I'm writing a song called "Me La Voy a Robar," and
Mm.
it basically talks about this guy that he likes this girl, and he wants to, like, kind of like old school in Mexico, me like, hey, mija, get your stuff ready. I'm coming to pick you up. So but the girl's gonna be in like second story of a house, and I
Hmm.
want to show up with me and my friends. When she looks down on us, we're gonna be dressed like with like shields and like a knight with
Uh-huh.
armor and stuff. But when the camera looks to us from the side, it's just gonna be us dressed up like normally, like
Right.
we dress like reggaetoneros, right? And then we're singing and dancing. And the same thing when we look up, the girl's gonna be dressed like a princess.
Mm.
Because the song says, "Hay una princesita atrapada en un lugar."
Mm.
So it's kind of like Rapunzel. and
Right.
and so we have this I have the storyline already. As I'm writing the song, I'm already making my notes for the music video. And so
That's
that's
cool. Yeah.
so
That's a
this
lot of
is
forethought. Yeah, that's good, man.
that's good. That's the next song that I'm working on, that's gonna have a music video that I plan to do at Sunset Strip Studios.
Hmm.
But those
Now,
guys are awesome.
yeah, definitely, yeah, shout them out, man. I we'll plug them at the end too. Um, Really quick, you ever used to watch like Lucha Libre and shit like that?
I mean, I used to watch it when I was a kid. The old school guys, El Santo,
Like
Blue
Conan?
Demon, the Barbarian. Oh, you
No,
call him the
he's
Mexican
like,
one.
yeah, well, he's Cuban and Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay.
He has his own podcast, man. You should shoot some of your music videos over to him. I'll uh I'll see if I can find that link for you. But they do every now and then they review music and they watch the music videos and they they shot you out big right there.
Oh, that's cool.
So
And excuse my ignorance. I didn't know he was Cuban, but I mean, I know who the guy is.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, everybody. I always thought he was a Mexican wrestler. He's got to be Mexican, but yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but he's got a pretty popular podcast, and should probably throw some of your music his way, and they like that stuff, So it's
Well,
like,
that's
yeah,
anything, dude. I'm down.
yeah, for sure. Now, leading off of that, I wanted to kind of get into the reggaeton scene as a whole, right? What I mean, in your opinion, what constitutes like reggaeton? Because I think a lot of people have a lot of different opinion of what it is. Like I'm again self-admittedly I'm not very huge into it, but who were like some of the early ones, and when did it really start to take its presence in the US?
I mean, I don't know so much about the history, but obviously one of the pioneers will be Bikosi. Bikosi
Mm,
was one of the guys that that started rapping in Spanish and then
mm,
started adding different beats. He started making he started adding like salsa beats. So you would say I wish Brian was here because he's the one that teaches me more. I love the music, and
mm,
but Brian is the one that has always taught me who are the our pioneers, the people that we follow, the names. I really like the music, and I really connect with writing because I like to have fun, but I like dancing music. But
right.
to me, one of those guys is Vico C. And I think the other names that if I would mention, they're still way newer. Like I know that Nicky Jam and Daddy Yankee have been there forever, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure if they're pioneers on the reggaeton scene. So I don't want to get into that much because
Right.
I would say myself I'm one of the newer guys, and I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. And I love the music, and I'm a big fan of so many of those artists that are out there. But I wish Ryan again El Doble M. He's the guy that's always been showing me a lot of the names and
Hmm.
Trova from Puerto Rico. I mean, Puerto Rico has so much music, and the more and more that I've been working with them, and then I get to know their culture. I mean, it's amazing. You hang out with Puerto Ricans, dude,
Hmm.
and they're just so much fun people. That's I like to be like that. And when I every time I go and hang out at their place or with their friends, their family, man, those people they're just always fun. And and
Hmm.
and they're always you walk into their houses and they're always listening to salsa, reggaeton. You just walk in there, you feels like a party. And
Right. Now, the reason I asked the question, and it's fine, I think that you actually don't know as much because I was very ignorant to it as well, and I used to do a lot of security back in the day, like for different events and stuff like that. Drive around some of the artists and whatnot from the venue to their hotels and stuff like that.
pretty cool.
And I used to work like Daddy Yankee concerts and stuff like that. But I used to think that like somebody like Pitbull was like reggaeton, and a lot of people were like, no, he's a rapper. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, they do the same concerts, and to me it sounded very similar. But like I remember, yeah, like when I used to work a lot of concerts for Pitbull as well. He wouldn't necessarily fall under that banner, would he?
I mean, I Pitbull's a guy that could just flow. Yes, he's a rapper.
Mm,
Eh, and he's just a guy that can make amazing hooks.
mm,
You give him a song for him to collaborate with you, and then he makes you a hook, and that thing's a hit.
mm,
What is he? He's just gifted, man. The guy is talented, and
mm,
you give him a song, and he's gonna throw in some of his flow, some of what makes him Pitbull,
mm,
and that song is gonna be amazing. I mean, that guy just got some flavor on whatever he writes and he sings.
mm.
So
Yeah, and I guess what I'm leading to with all of this is that you see what's most popular in just even American popular music now. It's made it to that level, and it's a lot of this Spanish based music, and a lot of people like myself, I don't know whether to call it like reggaeton or what is it, because you'll see, you got like Bad Bunny on top of the charts and stuff like that. So much so that even like the WWE brought him in to do like Royal Rumble and whatnot, and that was
It's
crazy.
to me, that's why I call it urbano, because I can't say, oh, I'm 100% reggaeton, but
Mm-hmm.
it's la música urbana. It's very strong. Uh, what's happening, I think, is I love my American music. I like hip hop. I like our American pop and rock, but there isn't a lot of music right now that you can dance to. We
Right.
we don't have dancing music, and if we think about it, if we go back into history, every time you think about it, where there's a big movement of music, is that music that got everybody dancing. Like
Mm-hmm.
disco. It was
Yep.
big because there was so much people would go out and dance it. When we had the old rock and roll in the 50s, the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
you were dancing with your girl. People like to go out and dance at a party. And I mean, I'm not putting down American music because it's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like that American music, we don't have too much dancing stuff.
Right.
There is nothing to dance to.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes reggaeton, and now you go to a club, you go to a party, and you that reggaeton, you want to go get your girl to dance with you. That's why
Mm-hmm.
salsa, that's why merengue, that's why the cumbia, bachata, that's why all those things are so popular, because people want to go out and dance. People love to go and take those classes, and go to go places and dance at a party with your family. I mean, you grew up with your mom and dad. I'm pretty sure your mom will take you out and go and dance with you. We
Mm-hmm.
like to dance, and reggaeton gives us music to dance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly, I think, where I was leading to. I was about to ask, like, why do you think, we're in this stage where it's so like widely popular, even amongst non-Hispanic, non-Latino people. Everybody loves it right now. But yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head there, where people want to move, they want to dance, and and that type of music. There's different, there's even one artist can have like 5, 6, 7 different ways to dance, right? Because you mentioned like there might be like what you call it, like a trap beat or whatever. They might have like a more cumbia style song, right? What are some examples of different like styles that people can dance to? I know you kind of already did like a little trap beat for us, but maybe you can mimic a few more.
Uh, well, I mean, the second song that I have, that I released, is Me Voy a Parchar, and that's a little bit of cumbia,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of reggaeton. Uh, it's kind of fast, but I don't know if you had a chance to check it out, but it goes to, what is it? Y yo me voy a parchar, parchar,
Mm-hmm.
parchar. And then it's like, y yo me voy a parchar las llantas de mi carro, tengo que trabajar, tengo que ir al mercado, comprar todas las cosas que me han encargado. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, it's got that little bit of flow, but it's like on a dun, 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 dun,
Mm-hmm.
dun, dun, dun. So it has that cumbia influence to it, and that's why I say I cannot say I'm reggaetonero, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing Latin music, and it's got that song is a little bit of reggaeton, but it's a little bit of it actually has some trap beats,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got some cumbia feel, and it's reggaeton,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, because uh-huh.
so those kind of things that I'm trying to do when I make the songs. I'm fortunate enough that I have a lot of background, and I know a guy that used to be like an A&R for Capital, and he's
Mm-hmm.
one of the people that have guiding me. And so basically, he told me, listen to a lot of styles when you're gonna make. If you're gonna make, your reggaeton, he's like, listen to your cumbias, listen to this and that. And when you write in one style, and then you grab that and then throw it in to this music so that you sound original.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been aiming for. I don't wanna copy anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that have allowed me to, I think, sound different, because I put in that cumbia, put in the little reggaeton. some trap, and it's nothing that's really out there, and but it's me.
Mm. Yeah, because I mean, I used to make dumb jokes too. When I was, playing music with my friends, and that's when reggaeton started like kind of blowing up. And to me, I was just like, but it all sounds the same. I'm like, they all got that same beat. It's like, I'm like, watch, I'm gonna make one right now. It's gonna be like, boom, ta ta ta, boom, ta ta ta, boom, ta ta ta,
Dembow.
boom,
It's called
culo.
dembow.
I'm like, and then he's gonna throw in culo, and then you're done. But
But guess what?
that's
You might get a girl to dance with that, and then all of a sudden,
right.
hey, that's cool.
No, that was just me being a hater, man. But you know, and then I was able to really kind of look into that, and that beat is has been around for centuries. Even when you start learning how to play like some of the hand drums, like a djembe, right? That's one of your basic beats. That's one of the first beats you learn how to play on a hand drum. So it's kind of crazy how it's taken different shape, and that I guess would be more like of an African style beat, right? Or even like a Middle Eastern style beat, but now we associate it with like Latino style beat, So it's kind of crazy how that works.
I've never looked into where that beat, the reggaeton beat, it's called dembow.
Mm-hmm.
That tum, ta, tum, ta, tum. I don't know. I mean, I've been listening to it for I don't know 20 years already, but I'm not sure where exactly it comes from. I think it's one of those things that's been evolving. It's been evolving from from like the original rap, from like the uh, hip hop. It's just and when you try to add uh, brass section, when you're trying to incorporate a little bit of merengue, when you try to incorporate a little bit of salsa, then I think those beats that was one of those beats that was able to to blend in so many things.
Mm-hmm. For
So
sure.
that's probably where it comes from. I mean, I'm just used to it, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't question so much the history. I'm just in the
Right.
present, and I'm trying to put my thing together.
For sure. Now, when putting together music, everybody has their own kind of, process or style, man. Like, how do you get motivated? What starts that whole, spark of you creating something brand new?
um Different things. Some songs might be a little bit of something that happened to me, or let's say you and I having a drink, and then you tell me something, and all of a sudden I just get an idea, and then that something you said sparks a line that becomes a song. I don't know where my creativity comes from. I'm just witty, man. You tell me something, and I'm gonna think something on my feet, and I'm just gonna evolve from there. And I tell my friends, they're like, my friends know there's one or two lines that they'll find out, oh, that was me. So in my songs, it's something that happened to a friend. I do like to. That was one of the things that I started doing when I started. I had like a little beat on a cell phone app that
Mhm.
was a reggaeton, and then I go get a coffee at Starbucks, and then I'm like, all these pretty girls walk in. I don't go to talk to anybody. I'm have my notebook and I'm listening to the beat, and I just start writing stuff,
Mm.
and it I don't know. I just get ideas, but anything gives me ideas. My friends and family will tell me about something that happened to them, and that becomes one line, and that sometimes becomes a whole song.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Like, um, for me, I've never been big lyrically, but like when I play music, I usually hear like a bass line first, right? And then I'll put that down on a little on a mix, right? And and I'll just start tinkering around with the guitar. I'm like, what sounds good with this? And then I'm a drummer first, before anything, so I can play drums to almost anything, But the hardest time I have is coming up with like a story, coming up with lyrics. So it's interesting that you share that you take away from everything, like you write down, you jot down your notes, or you have even friends influence. So that's something that's pretty helpful to know for someone who writes music.
Yeah, it makes it more real. You do want to have. I think a lot of songs might sometimes do start and you don't know what you're doing. You get me? There's no right or wrong to write a song, not a right or wrong way to write a song, but once you're writing, you do need to understand that you have to that a story has to flow. Or not everybody's like that. You know, there's people that write the right stuff and you just have no idea what they're talking about. But at least in my process, I mean, I did very well in all my high school and college English classes, where I really paid attention to the process, the writing process, and then I do go back, and once I write a song, I edit and I edit and I edit to polish the story, to the timing, so that, you know, so they have a nice intro. I have those choruses and like the the ending of the story if I need to have one. So I do focus on having a process where with the structure lyrics.
Nice. Now, um, you know, with what I've had a few musical guests on before, and I love to share the music. You know, and I'll put it at the end of the podcast. I'll put a couple songs on. What are two songs that you would love to share with the audience?
Out of my stuff right now,
Yeah.
so I would probably do. I would probably share Esta Vez, which
Mhm.
is my the first single that I released, because that is kind of what started it all. This song that I wrote thinking of Spanish rock, kind of like Maná, you know,
Mhm.
Caifanes and Soda Stereo, stuff like that. And the I had Alda X Productions. What's his name? There's two brothers, Arnold and Andre. Uh, I was talking to Andre, and he's the guy that made the song from Alda X Productions for Esta Vez, and he heard the song, and so he immediately thinks of doing it like Spanish rock song. And I'm like, no,
Mhm.
no, no, dude, we're creating something different. I'm like, I obviously, like I told you, I was being guided by somebody that worked with Capitol Records, and it I don't want to name names, but it's a, you know, it's a well-known producer.
Mhm.
And so basically he's the one who told me, dude, grab one thing and make it into something else. So
Mhm.
when he produced the music, I'm like, we have a Spanish rock song that you're turning into a reggaeton. So see what you can do. So that's when he comes with this beat, which I think till this day it's amazing. Aldex Productions, if you guys look them up on Spotify or follow them, they produce some crazy stuff.
Mhm.
And so this is what sparked that idea of continuing to make that those different lyrics that would try to be installed in a reggaeton beat. Um, and so Esta Vez is probably one of my favorites. And now this new song, Dejo de Pensar, is something where I'm venturing, and I take this trap beat, but I'm mounting a ballad on it.
Mhm.
And I mean, I just like it because I'm going crazy with ideas. There's balance, there's cellos. You know, that's where Steven did his guitar work. It's
Mhm.
kind of subtle. It's very in the bottom, but it just fills it in. It has a very beautiful sounding melody, but at the same time, it's got that modern flavor with that beat. And
Mhm.
so that's probably the two songs that I'd like to share.
Cool, man. Yeah, just just send them over, and I'll plug them in and everything.
They're everything's on Spotify, Apple,
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah. So if you look up La Sancha on Spotify, I already have 4 singles. YouTube, finally, I've been growing enough that if you put La Sancha, it's probably gonna be the first thing that is gonna come up now. And
Nice.
my singles and the feel the little videos that I do. My music's on TikTok. So if you want to do a TikTok dancing, uh,
I'll think about it. You know, but when it comes to your future in this, this whole musical endeavor that you're into, right? Um, Forget about COVID. Let's say that's gone, a year from now, right? What does it look like for you? What does the future look like as far as you and music?
I want to keep pushing the what I'm doing. I mean, if it's a year from now, I want to have at least 10 songs released, maybe six videos by then, and obviously growing my following. I'm working with other artists,
Hmm.
so I'm hoping that Legna's gonna have. I want to have 3 or 4 singles for her by the end of this year.
Mm.
I am trying to start my own record label. I mean, my stuff is already under my name. It's Urban Records LA,
Hmm.
URLA, and I want to be able to find eventually more artists and help them grow, kind of like old school, not like the new record labels where a lot of them just want you to have an album produced and done, and they just want to distribute. I want to be able to pick up somebody with some talent and be able to write for them, produce them, vocalize them, be
Hmm.
able to develop artists. I mean, it's difficult, but hopefully one day I can do that, because there's so much talent out there without any help.
Hmm.
And if you're not fortunate to have money to finance all your stuff, you know, I mean, that's what's sad in the industry right now, that there's not a lot of support. And I think we have way better music out there, and just there's just not a lot of help for the music industry right now.
Hmm.
We don't get paid, man.
Yeah, it's a dying field right now, but I think once everything's back to where it needs to be, I think it's going to have a nice little surge and jump up again. People are going to want to go to concerts. People are going to want to dance and move. So we'll see how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
goes.
Can't wait for that.
Now, I know you're a pretty humble guy, but you know, when it comes to music, it's very competitive, and so what is it about La Sancha, right? That sets you guys apart, and why should people listen?
um I try to make stuff fun, man.
Nice.
I really like to make good songs, and it I mean, I don't it's not that I don't want to compete. I just want to be able to put good music out there that I enjoy and I have fun, because I've realized that when you go and you sit down and you write something that's good, and you put it out there, when you make something that's good and you enjoy and you love, people tend to follow.
Mm,
When I think that when you're copying somebody and then you're not being yourself, you people might find that out. They're gonna
mhm,
realize. So if there's a band that's doing great and all of a sudden 3 or 4 bands sound just like them, I mean, they might be good, but people don't care when you're copying. I try to be original, man. I don't know how original I am, but I do put in it a lot of work and dedication to when I write my songs. And again, I want to give people music that they're gonna have fun, that they're gonna dance with, and
mhm.
hopefully they follow, man.
Yeah.
You have to be a leader. You have to say, I'm gonna put this out because I believe in my music, and then just let people follow.
For sure.
So,
Ni-
see what happens.
I like it, man. So go ahead and any shout outs, any plugs, where can people find you? Go ahead and throw all that out there, man.
Man, a lot of people, but definitely right now, my boy Brian, which is El Doble M Moviendo Masas, he's in Puerto Rico. He couldn't join us because he didn't have good internet. But
Hmm.
definitely the guys from Sunset Strip Studios, which have done some of my recordings, the music videos. Those guys are amazing, and uh, I'm working on new stuff to get back to work with them. Ismael Angulo, he's another sound engineer that I've been working with, and he's basically he'll take a song and he'll sit down with me. He's teaching me the process of more production. Stephen
Hmm.
GV, who just recently helped me introduce me to you. He's
Hmm.
When we were recording Dejo de Pensar, he just happened to be at the studio and he was jamming on the guitar. And then I'm like, fuck, that sounds good. And so I'm like, dude, like, I would love for you to put in some work in there. And then he
Hmm.
agreed. And so, big shout out to him. Yalabs, that's a studio where I've done some work as well. The guys from Aldax Productions, Arnold and Andre. These guys make some amazing music. I want to do more work with them, but they're pretty busy. They have a lot of projects going on.
Okay.
So those guys are amazing. And my friends, family, there's all my friends know that they don't see me. Uh, I'm Luis FM is busy doing music Monday through Friday, man. So like
Mhm.
I don't hang out with most people anymore. I'm oh Brian is still trying to log in right now, but I'm I'm working a lot, and it it's disconnected me a lot
Mhm.
from other things that I was doing. But I mean, this is something that I want to do. Like you said, I'm really dedicated to becoming an artist and making this big, and I have to put in the work. Like today's a holiday weekend. Tomorrow I get up, fire the computer, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna be producing all day.
Nice. Nice,
So
man. That's that dedication, right? So,
yeah.
you want to throw your Instagram or anything out there?
Yes, La Sancha es Música. That's Instagram, that's YouTube, and that's Facebook. Just all one word, La Sancha es Música. I
Mhm.
go by Luis FM. My name is
Mhm.
Luis Fernando Mendoza. And so Luis FM, that's my name. So there's a few things. I think Luis F, La Sancha Luis FM. I'm on Instagram. And as far as my music, you can find it in all the platforms, all the digital platforms: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, basic Pandora, anywhere that you listen to music. Google,
Mhm.
we're there. And
Nice.
if you look up La Sancha, we have 4 singles now, and they're all actually. Well, I almost forgot. I have my artist. Her name is French Lacey, and you
Mhm.
can look her up on Instagram, French Lacey. She does all my artwork. And that's one thing that I do love, because every single song, every single that I have has a different image of La Sancha. It's like a little
Oh,
cartoon, red and
cool.
black. And if you can look it up, she's a local artist here in the LA scene. She's amazing. And I'm very thankful to be working with her.
Perfect. Well, Luis FM, man, La Sancha, was a pleasure talking to you.
Same here, man.
I always love talking about music, even, if I'm a little bit ignorant to some of it, but great
So
conversation,
much
man. You
to know,
always
bro. There's so much to know. But
definitely, I always welcome everybody back. So if you ever have a, a brand new project or song or anything you want to throw out there, man, always welcome back.
yeah,
So thank you again.
Legna Lee's will be releasing her first single in the next month or so. Maybe we can have her here talking to
For
you.
sure. Yeah. Appreciate it. Everybody listening at home, I appreciate you. Thank you. Fuck you and good night.
Thank you.
Subscribe to the Ignorance is Strength podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Like, follow, and share on Facebook and Instagram at Ignorance is Strength Podcast, and on Twitter at The Ignorance Pod.
This is Luis FM, my project, La Sancha, with my boy, moviendo masas, el doble M. No te quito más el tiempo, retornaré a mi camino. No fui yo sino el destino que te puso aquí enfrente de mí. Llorarás como es costumbre cuando veas que sí me alejo, porque antes como pendejo regresé y el llanto te quité. Y esta vez ya no regresarás. El tonto que allá atrás guardabas para cuando te enfadabas, porque sé que puedo caminar y tal vez encontrar otra mirada con palabras de sinceridad. Busca un loco que te entienda o un tonto que te aguante, porque en este mismo instante me alejo muy rápido de ti. Amigos, ni aunque quisiera, no me junto con las fieras. esta vez de fregadera, de tus sucias garras me libré. Y esta vez ya no regresará el tonto que allá atrás guardabas para cuando te enfadabas, porque sé que puedo caminar y tal vez encontrar otra mirada con palabras de sinceridad. Yo no sé cómo sucedió, yo contento por ahí y de repente estaba aquí, bien jodido y sin poder salir. Y esta vez ya no regresará el todo que allá atrás guardabas para cuando te enfadabas, porque sé que puedo caminar y tal vez encontrar otra mirada con palabras de sinceridad.
Sancha out.
This is a Sancha, Luis FM, doble M. Dejo de pensar por un momento, dejo que el razonamiento vuele por ahí, de escapar mi mente, de escaparse así, y no hacerle frente a lo que siento en mí, que son las memorias sin un fin, que son las memorias que dejaste aquí. Y si no recobrara el conocimiento y quedara en un abismo lejos de aquí, sería el inconsciente mi remedio a la enfermedad de vivir yo sin ti. Sería mejor que regresar en sí, sería preferible a despertar aquí yo sin ti. Y si no regresas a mí, y si decides nunca regresar, yo ya no quiero más vivir, yo ya no quiero recordar. No, quisiera pensar por un segundo que nunca te fuiste y aún sigues aquí. Pretender que el mundo no es injusto, y en la vida siempre hay un final feliz. Sería mejor el engañarme así, sería preferible el pretender que aún sigues aquí. Y si no regresas a mí, y si decides nunca regresar, yo ya no quiero más vivir, Sancha is out.